and welcome to more coverage. Welcome to our coverage of the MLS Shovelers Cup playoffs on MBS. It is the quarterfinal between Lapis Bay and Winterside. Lapis Bay gets the home field advantage, but we are starting in Winterside. Basically, if there's a third game, it will be hosted in Lapis Bay. That's how that works. But before we begin the game, let's take a look at the standings of the playoffs as they stand right now. We can see that as we go into this quarterfinal, whoever wins is going to be advancing to the semifinal against the city-state of Catania. For our MBS viewers, if Lapis Bay is the one that goes to the semifinals, then that game will air tonight at 12 a.m. GMT. If that doesn't happen, if Winterside wins, then we're going to have to figure out a different time, but stay tuned for that. And you can see the city-state of Catania and Titsansaki are the two teams that have already made it into the semifinals, and right now we are going to play this series to decide who is going to be the third. So, are you both ready?
Ready.
Alright, I'll do the bottomless. Someone already has the command in.
Alpha says he's ready.
Alright.
The match will begin in 10 seconds. Start at the sound of the tone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start playing. The match has started. There are 7 minutes remaining.
And they've started. Now, a thing to note about both these players, of course, they are both in the playoffs, so both did not too badly this season, but Lapis Bay has been quite a behemoth this season. They've only been beaten 3 times in the 30-some-odd games that they've played this season during the regular season, and I mean, if I had to put my money on it, I'd put my money on Lapis Bay being the season champion, but we are going to have to see how that plays out. And, as with many of our other MLS games, defensive play, I believe we usually see that with these players, especially with Winterside. Winterside did have a pre-quarterfinal game that we broadcast against Aquamarine Bay, and that game... Oh, this is an island. Time for reset. You guys both ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, Aquamarine Bay and Winterside faced off in the pre-quarterfinal, which is how Winterside got here. And, you know, Aquamarine Bay is probably the most defensive team in the league, and I expected that game to go deep into overtime, but that did not happen. And if I recall correctly, Winterside won in regulation with a score of like 2-0. And that is a point for Winterside.
There are 5 minutes remaining.
Are you both ready?
Ready.
Wait for Alpha, because he did drop his shovel right before going in the hole. 3, 2, 1, go. And I have F1, so if you type ready in chat, I can't see it. So if you can't talk aloud, jump to indicate you're ready. But, so, Winterside does have the advantage now over Lapis Bay. Lapis Bay, the favorite to win this game, so, will Winterside be able to pull off an upset? Of course, this is a best of 3, so if Winterside does win, Winterside will have to repeat that success in the next game, which will take place in Lapis Bay. But, you know, Winterside, and that's another point for Winterside. Will this be an upset victory? Are you both ready?
Ready.
Jump if you're ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Will this be an upset win? If I remember, I believe I was looking at the regular season score sheet, and Lapis Bay beat Winterside 4-0 in both of their games in the regular season. But right now, with I think we're around like 3 minutes or so on the clock, Winterside is up 2 points. So we could be looking at quite an upset here. Will we see the champion of the season dethroned? Or at the very least.
There are 3 minutes remaining.
Yep, 3 minutes on the clock. Or at the very least, could Needham manage to win one game and then Lapis Bay goes and wins the other 2. I don't know, we'll see. But what it doesn't look like is this is going to be a match that goes into overtime. This is like almost an island. And I think that's a point for Winterside. You're both ready?
Ready.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. While you guys are going, I'm going to review the tape. I just reviewed the tape, and I would like to request to the commissioner that we retract that point, because I believe that had just become an island right before Alpha jumped in. Yeah, right. Well, Hey, Skelly, could I get your opinion? If Alpha jumped before it was an island, but he didn't actually fall through until it was, does that count?
Island.
That's an island reset. Skelly, are you there? 3, 2, 1.
Let's take an official timeout. I meant.
Official timeout.
There is 1 minute remaining.
I'm sorry. I was using my mumble push to talk. I was gonna say I was under the impression that it was a point, but I'll quickly ask JP to see if he agrees.
Okay, he can have him look back at the MBS footage. The way I can describe it is basically he jumped before Needham dug that last block, but then Needham dug it, and it was an island while Alpha was like up in the air before falling. So would that count? And for MBS viewers, we are waiting on comment from the other commissioner of MLS. A pretty close point there for Winterside that could be contested. So we are reviewing that call before we continue with the game.
JP, we confirmed that it is a point.
Alright, that means that
We'll agree to nothing.
With a minute on the clock, that means Winterside is confirmed up 3-0. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call out 3, 2, 1, go, and I'm just gonna give like a leniency of a few seconds, just because there was a little bit of a delay pausing it after the official timeout was called. Anyway,
Yeah.
Alpha and Needham, jump if you're ready, or say aloud.
Ready.
All right, 3.
Do we need to break, Alpha?
3, 2, 1, go. Resume the time. that means Winterside is up 3-0, so this is Winterside's game to win. And if Winterside can repeat this in the next game, that will be a resounding upset victory. Oh shit. I never resumed the... Okay, you know what? I actually fucked up the command and didn't actually resume the timer, so, but I mean, the MBS timer should basically be right, so...
That was an island?
Yeah.
Are we about to finish?
Okay, the I forgot to resume it, but the MBS timer should more or less be right, and that just ended. So I think we should just call the game over now.
Yeah, let's call it. It's over now.
Alright, that is a victory. That is an upset victory for Winterside. Again, that does not yet decide the series. There is going to be at least one more game in Lapis Bay. If Winterside can win that, then that will be it. That will be Winterside goes to the semifinal against the city-state of Catania. If Lapis Bay wins the next game, then we're going to go to a third game, and the winner of that game, that'll determine the series. But we are going to find that out in just a few minutes. You're watching the Major League Spleef Shovelers Cup playoffs on MBS. We'll be right back after these messages.
Jump with me. Jump with me. I've been feeling it buzzing in my fingertips. Wanna try you out. Get lost, get far away, and do what we wanna do now. Jump with me. Jump with me. Jump with me.
Welcome back. We are live in Lapis Bay for the second game of the series. Winterside winning the first game. That means, essentially for the series, it's match point for Winterside. So this could be a very important game in the playoffs. We are going to see. Let's get over the field. This field was also used in the 21st Taco Burrito-a-thon, which we also broadcast. That was last month. And speaking of the Taco Burrito-a-thon, the 22nd edition will be in Sealand. That'll be live on MBS in 40 minutes from now, so you can stay tuned for that. So, Needon and Alpha, if you want to get on the field. Oop, and I forgot to reset the timer. Let's do that.
It's queued up.
What are the
I mean
corners?
the timer on my screen.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
That's how you click it on my phone.
Needing an alpha. Can you get ready?
all right, are you both ready? Eden's ready. Alpha, are you ready?
Alpha's ready.
All right, let me go.
The match will begin in 10 seconds. Start at the sound of the tone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start playing. The match has started. There are 7 minutes remaining.
If Alpha wants to survive further into the series and make it into the semifinals, he has to win this game. This is a critical game for Alpha DS. If he loses this game, the number one team, the number one player in MLS Season 5, only beaten thrice before in the regular season. If he loses this game, that is it for him in the playoffs. But you never know. Alpha could be getting that home field advantage as we're playing in his home arena. Winterside.
We have seen home field comebacks before, just in the quarterfinal between Silverville and Titsansaki.
Indeed.
Silverville took the opening game. Titsansaki won 2 straight.
Which, you know, if Silverville won, that would have also been enough. Honestly, Silverville and Winterside winning those quarterfinals, that would be quite the dual upset there. The game is still scoreless as we approach, as we get a tick down towards 5 minutes left. And it looks like Needon is creating an island. That is an island. Reset. And
There are 5 minutes remaining.
let me know when you're ready.
Ready?
3, 2, 1, go. I do quite like the decoration underneath the field that is revealed as the players sweep the snow away. So it's basically includes a rendition of the Lapis Bay flag. So that's nice. This is an arena with a lot of good aesthetic to it. And we're seeing defensive play from both sides here, although Needon definitely the most defensive of the two. That's kind of Needon's style this season, and probably any other season, but Alpha really has... Needon's kind of in that cushy position of if he wins this game, it's it, whereas if he loses this game, he's still got one more game. So really all Needon needs to do is win a game, whereas he can afford to lose this game and just redo the game right here. Whereas for Alpha, he has to win right now. That is, if he does not... Oh, that looked a bit close, looking from our overhead camera. And I think Needon's creating an island. That indeed is an island.
There are 3 minutes remaining.
The game's still scoreless with 3 minutes on the clock. Are you both ready? as we, the majority of the time is passed on the clock, should remind our viewers that there is a special procedure in the playoffs for draws. So in the regular season, if you draw in the main portion of the match in regulation, then you go to overtime. If you've still drawn in overtime, then that's it. The game is drawn. But since the games in the playoffs have to produce a winner, that is a requirement. If the normal overtime comes to a draw, that's when we go to Admont Park in Central City for another round of overtime. That's got no timer, but the field is a lot smaller. So
11 by 11.
We-
Saw
we
that
act-
in
Yep.
Game 2 of the Silverville Titsansaki series.
Yep, Silverville versus Titsansaki Game 2, we actually saw that, and there was a lot of islanding on that tiny little piece of field, but I believe Titsansaki was the winner of that. That was broadcast
best
on
of- one of the
NBN
best of
and the
three,
MRT
3-0.
Media Studio.
Won that best of 5 shutout, 3-0. And then went on to win a little bit more comfortably in Game 3. I think that was 3-0. Needn't look to Island again.
That's another island.
Yep, that's an island. Alright, are you both ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1,
There is
go.
1 minute remaining.
With 1 minute on the clock, the game's scoreless. If it stays like this, we're going into overtime. If Needham can sneak in a point there, he could clinch that victory. Alpha gonna want that not to happen. But the game, it does look like there's a very strong possibility that the game will be going scoreless into overtime.
There are 30 seconds remaining.
Half a minute left on the clock. Alpha stops for a minute to eat his golden carrot.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
Stop playing. The main portion of the match has ended. Overtime
Alright.
will begin in 20 seconds. If you wish to take a break before overtime, pause the video now.
Time for overtime.
Overtime will
Do we need
begin
to
in
pause?
10 seconds. Start at the sound of the
Ready.
tone.
I'm ready.
5,
I think we're
4,
good. Go.
3, 2, 1. Start playing. Overtime has started. The match will end when the next point is scored, or in 3 minutes, whichever comes first.
So we are in overtime. The next point will win the game. If
Third playoff overtime game.
Lapis Bay wins, we go to a third game. If Winterside wins, we're done. And if neither of them score in the next 3 minutes, we go to Admont Park for the special, and that's the game!
Oh!
That is the game!
Oh no.
Put that on our scoreboard. And that is a split series so far. That means that the winner will be decided. The winner will be decided by a second game taking place right here. So that's gonna be spicy. We're just gonna go straight into that game. If you guys could just give me a moment to reset my graphics and all that. Alright, are you guys both ready?
Ready.
Somebody want to start the buck?
The match will begin in 10 seconds. Start at the sound of the tone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start playing. The match has started. There are 7 minutes remaining.
And being the team with the higher seed, could someone tell Pretzel to get farther away? As the team with the higher seed, Lapis Bay gets the home field advantage. What that means is that after the first 2 games, if a third game is necessary, it's played at the higher seeded team's arena, and that would be Lapis Bay's. So Lapis Bay gets the home field advantage. And now, this is a different game than the last game. The last game, Winterside had the advantage. This game, not so much. This game,
Winner take all.
This game, it's winner take all. Whoever wins this game, they are going to the semifinals. And we are in here for the long haul on this one. The last game that we just showed right here ended in overtime, 1-0 for Lapis Bay.
So far, we've only had one clean sweep in this postseason. Every other series has gone the distance.
Alpha briefly dropping his shovel in front of him, not sure if that was by accident or some kind of bragging move, but he did pick it up right as Needham made a motion towards him. So for both sides, this is the game. This is the game that decides it all. The other 2 games, that was the warm-up. This is the game that decides it. Of course, Lapis Bay getting the home field advantage. But, you know, either of them could win. And, you know, I would still put my money, I would put my money on Lapis Bay.
There are 5 minutes remaining.
5 minutes left on the clock. I would still put my money on Lapis Bay winning, although if Winterside won, I do think the city-state of Catania, which is me, would stand a better chance of getting into the final, because, I mean, against Lapis Bay, it's going to be a blowout. I already know how that's going to go down. Like, I know if Lapis Bay wins this, if Alpha wins this, he's going to be against me in the semifinal, and I know he is going to rip me to shreds. Needham, I at least stand some amount of it. I mean, I'd still put my money on Needham against me, but I would still stand some amount of a chance against him, basically. So, you know, if based on my performance, it is kind of in my interest for Needham to win. But I mean, Alpha really is the top player this season. He has the most wins, the most points, highest winning percentage. He's the #1 seed in the playoffs. So.
Well, people are making worse titles in chat.
But he is not invincible. Winterside did manage to defeat Lapis Bay in Game 1. So.
Needham's trying to...
That's what would be considered an island.
That is an island, and that is a rare... That's a rare actual island, not just on the edge of the field. It's an actual, legitimate island. Alright, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. They've had one field reset. I don't see the timer right now, but I think...
There are 3 minutes remaining.
That answers my question. We are 3 minutes on the clock. And just like the last game, we're ticking down the clock and the game is still score. Oh, and that's a point for Lapis Bay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, are you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go. That was a very impressive... That looked very dicey there. That play looked very dicey there for Lapis Bay. It looked like Needham was going to successfully spleef Alpha into the water, but then just at that last moment there, the tables were turned, and 'twas Needham who fell.
You know, something Needham shouldn't do is anything stupid, because this is what happens when he's down.
Well, with less than 3 minutes on the clock, Lapis Bay is up. If Lapis Bay maintains this, they win. They go to the semifinals.
After facing elimination 2-10.
But we should say Lapis Bay only up by 1. If Winterside can manage to tie the game, they can at least bring it into overtime and try to get their second point there. But at least right now, the advantage is with the
Nope,
and Lapis Bay's 2 up. All right, let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go. We're about 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock, and Lapis Bay is up by 2. It looks like Lapis Bay is in a good position to win the quarterfinal. Although this quarterfinal has been more competitive than I expected.
There is 1 minute remaining.
And the seconds keep ticking away. And I think at this point, short of some good successful play by Needham, it looks like Lapis Bay has it.
Home field advantage, standing strong in this postseason.
There are 30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds on the clock. That's a point for Winterside. If Needham has any sense, he'll call a timeout right now.
Out.
Timeout.
10, 9.
Well,
Okay, that is
maybe too little, too late. Maybe too little.
All right,
too late.
so that is okay. Well, the MBS clock is actually ahead a little bit because I didn't stop it for the timeout. So yeah, the
We're at
MBS
9
clock
if
has
you want
already
to
run out, but
we're at 9 if you want to.
well, it doesn't really matter. That's a time. That's a timeout for Winterside. I mean, Skelly, if you want to be the one to resume the bot, you might want to give 3 seconds or so after you tell them to go, because I think that was about the delay for actually pausing it after the timeout was called. But I mean, you basically Needham has more or less 10 seconds to tie the game once play is resumed. So, are you both ready?
Ready.
And Alpha's ready. Okay, Skelly, do you want to do the bot when I basically...
Yes.
Just 3 seconds after I say go?
Yeah.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. It all comes down to these few seconds.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's the
Stop
game!
playing. The main portion of the match has ended. Overtime will be.
And that is a second victory for Lapis Bay, which means that Lapis Bay is going to the semifinals. But I mean, hot damn, Winterside did not go down without a fight. But it was not enough.
Too little, too late.
Not enough to actually win, but you know. They made the game competitive. For our MBS viewers, if you look on the screen, this is now what the playoffs look like. Lapis Bay wins the quarterfinal against Winterside and goes to the semifinal against the city-state of Catania. That's the first semifinal of which the composition is confirmed. The other semifinal, Tits and Saki's in, but Tits and Saki could be competing against Sandestend or Millville or East End, depending on how that pre-quarterfinal and that quarterfinal go. NBN is organizing those games, so you can ask. I'm not sure when those are going to happen, but...
Ask Sasha. Ask him to respond to my pings.
MBS is going to be live tonight at 12 a.m. GMT with the semifinal between Lapis Bay and the city-state of Catania. So tonight we are going to find out one of the teams that will be making it to the final, and it will definitely be Lapis Bay. I mean, it theoretically could be the city-state of Catania.
Vegas says Lapis Bay minus 85.
It theoretically, it's mathematically possible that the city-state of Catania can make it to the final, but it's going to be Lapis Bay.
It's mathematically possible that I could potentially beat Lapis Bay.
Yeah, but yeah, so that is the game. That is a pretty good game between much more competitive than I expected it to be, more of a nail biter. But
love to see it.
But that concludes our coverage. Stay tuned for the semifinal. We'll be broadcasting the final whenever that happens, and the other half of the bracket that's being covered by MBN, so you can go watch MBN's MLS coverage for more on that. I think High Tech TR's MRT Media Studio will also be broadcasting a handful of games, so stay tuned for that.
Covered the Silverville Tits and Saki series last minute.
Indeed. Anyway, for our viewers on MBS, thanks for watching, and from MBS Sports and Games in Lapis Bay, I'm Kitty Cat 11231. The Taco Burrito-a-thon will be live in 18 minutes, so stick with us for that.